I've just always felt like it's going to come to a point where it's like you have to pass the baton to the next person for the good of the culture, of the morale of the company. Like, I feel like that's always been something in the back of my mind.
You wrote in your memoir a while back, quote, "When I can't dance, I feel lost." Describe that feeling.
Throughout my childhood, I was like searching for a place to belong. And thinking about it, like, we're here at a Boys and Girls Club, and I think that was the first place that I started to feel a sense of like stability and consistency in my life. Coming to the club every day, having adults around that, you know, cared about whether or not my homework was going to get done, you know, the mentoring and the tutoring, and then finding ballet. It really gave me a sense of purpose, and in a way I'd never experienced. So that just kind of became like the stability in my life. So, you know, even as an adult, when I would take time off, it was like my center of gravity was like gone.
And how would that come out in you when you would be off?
Yeah. You know, when I don't have like this sense of control over like a situation or my body in particular, I don't know, get like agitated and just not grounded and not myself. Just taking a ballet class, that like ritual of taking the same ballet class over and over again. It's a sense of you know, like practice, like yoga or, you know, breathing, meditation, that it can give you, and just coming back into your body day after day.
So then these past 3 years
have
been like what for you?
These past 3 years is the longest that I've gone without dancing at the level I'm used to. And it's kind of been replaced with other things though. Of course, my son coming into my life, there's like a different focus. There's part of myself that is not feeling like whole because I haven't been dancing the way that I need to. Initially, I was really thrilled to stop, to take a break.
Oh, you were?
Yeah,
okay.
Initially. You know, it's been a long run for me. And, you know, I think about a lot of dancers who are principal dancers and typically will step into that role pretty young, you know, in their 20s. Your rehearsals are intense, but they're shorter kind of spurts. And that my whole experience was like the opposite of what's typical. And so, you know, at 32 years old and you know, having had that run of working towards this goal for that long, it's exhausting. And, you know, with the pressures of being African American, of being the first, I got to a point where right before the pandemic, I ended up with a back injury and had to pull out of my final performances before the company, you know, before there were no more live performances. And I was ready. You know, I think I was at a point where I was already starting to think about, you know, like what the end looks like of a professional career with American Ballet Theatre. So I kind of got used to not being in that routine of things, but there wasn't that same sense of groundedness throughout this time because I haven't had that. In a rehearsal season, we're in the ballet studio taking class every morning from 10:15 to 11:45, and then we rehearse from noon until 7. And for the majority of my career, I wasn't getting breaks. You know, you get a 5-minute break on the hour to use the bathroom, get a drink of water. And then during a performance season, you're in the studio from like 10:30 to 5:30, and then performances start at 7:30, and that can go till like 11 o'clock. It's more physical than I think a lot of people realize. And all of that training is, you know, of course, going towards becoming a character, telling story through movement, keeping our technique refined, but it's also about making it look effortless. And I think that's why people are, you know, assume that it's so simple. because we train really hard to make it look that way.
So I understand you might be starting to get a little anxiety at the thought of going back in January?
A lot. I have many nights that I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to be ready, even though I have like really a year before I plan to be back on stage. But I have those moments where I wake up and I'm just like, it's just never enough time. But I think all dancers feel that way, even when you're in the best shape of your life.
And then by the time you're on stage in front of an audience, it'll have been almost 4 years, right? Or somewhere upwards of?
My last live performance was December of 2019.
So you had said how a single day off can cause your muscles to forget what your mind knows by heart.
The ballet technique is so incredible. I mean, just the idea, the thought of standing on point on one leg and balancing all of your weight. It takes years and years of practice, but it's a life, commitment to be able to get to this place. And you take one day off and those tiny little muscles that people don't even think, I mean, these aren't the big muscles that you think about when you're in the gym and you're using, these are the smallest little muscles underneath and between your toes, those types of muscles and tendons and ligaments that you take one day off. And of course your mind remembers exactly how it should feel, but your body so easily forgets.
I wonder if, when you get going again, if there's any chance you could just be like, screw this, been there, done that, had unbelievable success, ready to move on.
I don't know. As an athlete, really, anything can happen to your body. Of course you have control over a lot of things and in getting rest and taking care of, training correctly and all of that. But in the end, you don't have that much control over something happening to you, physically. And so I think I've always had this mindset of really enjoying everything I'm doing in that moment. So I feel like I've done everything. I really have. Yeah. And then some. It's a bonus to people to go on stage and do roles that you've been doing for years and continue to grow in them. That's an incredible privilege. But I've done it all. Right. And I'm so content and happy with my career, but I would love to be able to give back to the audiences who have supported me. I feel good about where I am, but I think it's about a celebration.
I know when people used to ask you about the future, you would always say rehearsal.
Yes.
What will make you realize when you're ready to be done?
I think once I'm back on stage, I'll have more, I think it'll make more sense to me. And I've just always felt like it's gonna come to a point where it's like you have to pass the baton to the next person. For the good of the culture, of the morale of the company, I feel like that's always been something in the back of my mind. Mm-hmm. And right now, I've been away from the company for 3 years, and it's a different company. It's a young company. I'm one of the oldest, members in this company.
Which is crazy to think,
Which is crazy. Yeah. But it's the circle of dance life, right. And I think it's okay to let go and give opportunity to the next generation.